Asking for help was so difficult, but it was so worth it. And it has definitely shaped who I am today and what I'm working on and what I'm passionate about. So, the whole reason why we started BUYA, our nonprofit, is just to make sure that no one else has to go through that.
Claudia Ramirez, empowering you to become the optimal leader of your life. Let's turn on the Mindset Mic. Welcome to Mindset Mic. I am so happy that you're here. I am completely wowed by you. And those of you listening, you are going to be so impressed by this story. I want to start off with this question. You are so young, you're so inspirational, and I want to ask you, what is something gutsy that you've done in your life that has gotten you to where you are right this moment?
Yeah, well, first I want to say thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited to share my story and what I've been working on the past couple months. So I think the bravest thing that I've done in my life was definitely to ask for help when I was struggling. I'm sure we're going to get into it more, but I struggled with an eating disorder, anorexia nervosa, when I was 11, and asking for help was so difficult, but it was so worth it. And it has definitely shaped who I am today and what I'm working on and what I'm passionate about. So it was the hardest thing that I've ever done, but definitely the best decision that I've ever made.
I'm so proud of you because not everybody talks about this. And it's very difficult when you're going through something so challenging at a very young age and so different to what other children are going through, other kids around you, your friends, your teammates, to be able to recognize that. And the fact that you had that courage, I want to applaud you. I really want to create that space to say you are remarkable. And I am so happy to see how you're using this very difficult experience for something good. Can you tell us a little more about what you've shifted it into? Because I always like to say pain, purpose, potential. Take your pain, give it a purpose, and reach your potential. How are you using this right now?
Exactly. I love that mantra so much. So, yeah, when I asked for help, I came to my parents and I was like, hey, like something is not right. Something needs to change. And I was hospitalized and I've gone through the whole recovery process the past 5 years, and it has definitely not been glamorous. But it's been just so worth it, like being able to get my life back, essentially, get that spark back. And the whole reason why we started BUYA, our nonprofit, is just to make sure that no one else has to go through that. I want to make sure that no one else has to get to the point where they realize that something is wrong when they're in the hospital or when they've reached a crisis point. So I've created BUYA as a space where young athletes can come and they can talk about whatever they want to, whether that is an eating disorder, whether that's hey, I'm struggling with performance anxiety, or I'm struggling balancing being an athlete and a student. I just really wanted to have a space that I thought would have been helpful for me, and it would still be helpful. I'm still an athlete, and I still struggle with things, and I still would love to have a space where I could talk about my struggles.
Yeah, absolutely. It's beautiful that the way that you say it, don't wait until you're in that critical situation. What would you say? Because a lot of our listeners are young parents, some of them are young like you. What would you say to parents to help them recognize patterns and be able to support their children when they're going through a difficult time as somebody who was supported by her parents?
Yeah, I definitely think the most important thing is education, like making sure that you're aware of these problems, whether it's an eating disorder or Red S. I just read an astonishing fact that only 10% of general practitioners are aware of Red S. So that means on parents and coaches, it's up to us to be educated about these things
Right.
so that we can catch it early, because early intervention is obviously the best thing that we can do to stop it from getting to a point where it is a crisis. And I know that for my parents, like my journey has been so difficult on them to watch their daughter go through these hard things, to starve herself, to go through these such hard mental blocks. I know that for my parents, that was awful. And I didn't know anything about eating disorders. I didn't know anything about red S or osteoporosis or any of these things. I was so uneducated. And I think it's just important that we bring awareness to all these things, that these are happening in sports. And that's why I want to create a space where we're breaking down the silence, we're breaking down the stigma, and we're just having these open conversations. We're normalizing them so that people realize, hey, I am struggling. And then hopefully they can come on BUYA, have this supportive community, and hopefully they can get help if they need it. Maybe they need to go to therapy, or maybe they need to see a doctor, or maybe it helps them have this conversation with their parents or their coaches. So we just really want to build that bridge, a supportive community and a bridge to more help.
Beautiful. I always think of the biggest mistake I've told my athletes, and I continue doing so. The biggest mistake an athlete can make is not ask the question or not seek help whenever they feel like something is wrong. I think
Mm-hmm.
that as athletes, and maybe you can relate, it's so easy to feel that
Mm-hmm.
unstoppable sensation, whenever you're thriving in sport, whenever you're doing great at practice. And it's that like almost the mindset, the standard of athletes are these awesome, cool people they can do it all. And it's like, wait a second, I can't always do it all. I sometimes need help. I am struggling. I love the name Booyah. We've talked about it. And I would love for you to tell everybody where the name came from.
Yeah, so booyah is like a cheer, like you give someone a booyah. Because it's kind of this, we want to create that atmosphere where, yeah, we're talking about hard topics, but in the end, like, we're all young athletes, like, we're teenagers. We just want to support each other. Like, we want to support each other on the good times and the bad times. So I think that really just
I love
encompasses,
it.
like, let's give each other booyahs. And I think what you were talking about before is so right. Like, it's so difficult for athletes to ask for help because we feel like we have to go through these really hard things and like pain is gain. But I think it's really important that we
Mm,
recognize that, like, there's a limit to that. There's a line where, like, you need help, and that's okay. Like, that's not a bad thing. That's you're probably going to be better once you get help. So yeah, I
right?
definitely think that's a really important, like, topic, that getting help is not a sign of weakness. It's definitely a sign of strength.
I love it. Yes, absolutely. So tell me more. Okay, in Booyah, you empower student athletes. You connect them with collegiate and professional runners. Am I right?
Yes.
And tell me about how you've gone about this. What is the model? How do you work with them? How do you empower them? What do they have access to?
Yeah, yeah. So far on Booyah, we have completed a test with 20 high school athletes, and we use the platform Discord because, one, we can make people anonymous. That's super important for Booyah. Is we
Mhm.
want to foster these vulnerable conversations, and that's just so much easier when you don't have to, like, put your face on it and put your name on it. So Booyah is anonymous. And then Discord allows us to be private and invite only. So you are in this secluded environment. So we want to foster, like, a brave and safe space. And then we keep the teams of 20. So you have a small group. So even though you don't know the person by name and you don't see their face, we hope that, like, you feel a camaraderie with these people. You feel like you know them on an even deeper level. And we hope
Mhm.
to normalize these conversations that you may not be able to have at school or in your sports teams. So we completed that test. It was super successful. It was amazing, the conversations that we had. We even had one girl who opened up about, "Hey, I'm going to eating disorder therapy. I'm starting it next week and I'm so scared. Can anyone give me advice?"
Ah,
And that was just so amazing. The strength and courage that it must have taken her to open up to 19 other girls about that, I can only imagine. And then the support that she got was just amazing. Even if somebody didn't have experience with an eating disorder, they could relate to the fact that, oh my gosh, this girl is going through a struggle and she is so strong for asking for help. And for me, like, I've been in that place. I've been in that place where I was starting recovery. So I was able to give her support. I was able to say, like, hey, you've done the hardest part. You've asked for help. And that shows so much strength. So that test was amazing. So our three kind of pillars of BUYA is our open chat, and that's where we hope that people can be vulnerable, whether that's, hey, I am going to eating disorder therapy, or maybe it's, I have a race coming up and I'm really anxious about it. Or maybe it's, hey, I just had a really good race and I just need a space where I can celebrate. Like, and the open chat is for those teams of 20 high school girls to like get together to have a space where you can talk about whatever you want. And then we have a daily feed, and that's where our moderators are going to put out daily content. And that's, I think, coming back to that point about education.
Uh-huh.
Um, we want to make sure that, athletes don't think that, hey, I don't have my period. That's a sign of fitness.
Mm-mm.
We want to make sure that people know about like bone health, especially as female athletes at this age. It's so important that we're building our bones. So just that kind of educational part. And then our third part is those live hangouts. So that's where we want to bring pro, collegiate athletes, anyone involved in sports, whether that's coaches, um, mindset coaches, just anyone who can talk about their journey in sport, whether that's, hey, I went through this mental struggle, or this is how to navigate being a student athlete. Just to like inspire people and foster these brave conversations.
Oh, it's so beautiful. It honestly makes me emotional because I can I wish I had access to this when I was a student athlete in high school.
Mhm.
And the work that you're doing is absolutely beautiful, and I truly truly mean it. It is so needed.
Thank you
And
so much. That brings
it,
so much joy to my heart hearing that.
it really and I mean it's impressive when so me and I spoke outside of Mindset Mike. And I walked away and I told my mom, I said, Mom, this is amazing. And I told Liz, which by the way, Liz connected us, and you've heard Liz on the podcast. I was
Hmm.
like, this is just so remarkable. Like, I would love for every student athlete to have access to this because you get that camaraderie, you get that connection. Sometimes
Hmm.
even I mean, that's what people love therapy, right? They're able to open up to somebody who they don't really know in their immediate circle very, very
Hmm.
well. And
Hmm.
when you're able to do that with people who are also in sport like you, whether it's the same sport, same school, different school, it doesn't matter. It really just creates that support. I know that a lot of athletes, they put their identity and their value on who they are as an athlete.
Hmm.
It's not student athlete, it's athlete,
Hmm.
and it brings a lot of dangers in the mind. And I know that I
Exactly.
experienced that. And so, just thank you so much for creating this and for thinking about creating something so powerful that goes way beyond yourself and way beyond sport. It's about health, it's about mental health, it's about people's future, and it's huge.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, like that's why we do sports. We don't do sports that we can get those gold medals. Like sports is so much more. It's about those connections. It's about like creating a healthy lifestyle. It's just about the joy that you get from movement. And I think sometimes we lose sight of that. So I think it's important that we always come back to that purpose.
Absolutely. Tell me more about your sport journey. When did you start playing sports? I mean, because you had a life shift at 11, very,
Hmm.
very young. So
Yeah.
when did you start playing? How does it play a role now? What sports do you do now? Tell me about that.
Yeah, so sports have been like always in my life. My dad is a huge like triathlete, Ironman runner. He'll literally do anything.
Way to go.
Um, so I've been a swimmer for like as long as I can remember. I think I started swimming when I was in like competitively, like in first grade or something.
Oh my God.
And yeah, it was amazing. I just fell in love with it. Like I loved that I could push myself. It was like my outlet after a stressful day of school. It was where I had all my best friends. And that was so difficult with my eating disorder too, is with that process, I had to give up sports. I had months where my doctor just wouldn't let me. Um, and obviously was so difficult in the moment, but it just makes you appreciate sports so much more. I remember the first day I got to swim, and it was probably one of the best days of my life. It was just amazing. I realized that, oh my gosh, sports is so much more than just like competing for times and winning state titles. Like, I love moving my body. I love doing it with other people. And I love the mental clarity that it gives me. And that's just always brought me back to sports, whether it's swimming, running, biking. So recently I've actually transitioned more into running. I've really just found like a new passion. I found running and I was like, hey, I'm a beginner at this. Let's see where I can take this. And it was just so fun to be a beginner at something again,
Isn't
to
it
like
cool?
see the improvement. Like the first time I went running, I was running like 2 miles and I was like out of breath. And I was like, how do people ever run like marathons? And like, how am I ever going to get into shape? And then like, here I am. I love running. Like, I have my long run tomorrow and I'm so
Yay!
excited. Yeah, so I run cross country and track at my high school, and I absolutely love it. And I think that's why I'm so passionate about BUYA, because I know that being a student athlete, especially in high school, is just like it's an amazing experience. And I just
Yeah.
want everyone to have the best experience being a student athlete, because like it can be stressful, it can be like it can create anxiety, but like when you have fun with it, it's the best.
It is so the best. I have a lot of friends from Europe and they ask me, is being an athlete in the US like in the movies? And I'm like, it's just like the movies, like the pep rallies, just the environment, the support.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Mhm.
And I feel like, being an athlete in the US, you're just so fortunate because you have access to so much. The system is designed for extracurricular
Mhm.
involvement. And I am so happy as a former cross country coach and track coach and a runner still, I welcome you with open arms. And I am so happy that you're part of the running world now. But yeah, it's so exciting because you get to challenge yourself in different ways. And it's every sport teaches you something. What do you think running has taught you
Mhm.
lately?
Yeah, I think running has really just taught me like not to take myself too seriously. I think that was like such a big part because I struggled with performance anxiety so much,
Yeah.
and I would get to races and I'd be like, "Oh my gosh, I want to be anywhere but on the start line." Like I was like, "Please get me out of here. I don't know why I do this."
Mhm.
And then I just realized like what am I talking about? Like this is my time where I can show off all the work that I did. Like it's the world is still going to be the same whether I run a 30-minute 5K or a 15-minute 5K. So I just realized that like it's not like I love it, and it sucks if I don't run as good as I want to, but the world's still going to go on. I'm still going to show up to practice the next day and I'm going to have the best run with my friends. So it's just really taught me how to go through obstacles, how to just take the hits and just roll with them.
I love it. You realize that it's not that serious, although it is. Like it is because it
Exactly.
impacts you in the now, and later in the future, you're gonna look back and think about, oh my gosh, I remember like this, and it kind of helps me now in this way, that way.
Hmm.
These like lessons, just getting out of a hump in a race, or just getting your mindset right, or being okay with running that 30-minute 5K versus the 15, all that. It plays a role later in life as well, but at the same time, it's not that serious. It doesn't define you. And that's where I think
Exactly.
the the most growth is most needed, really, in most athletes. So congratulations for that mindset. Going
Thank
back
you.
to going back to Booyah, what are your plans moving forward? You've done it with 20 student athletes.
Hmm.
And I love the model. I think it's a perfect number. It's a perfect combination of like that large team, but still like keeping it really intimate and connected.
Hmm.
What are the plans moving forward? How do you want to execute this to continue growing it?
Yeah, so our next test going forward is going to be this fall in September. We're trying to target September. And this time we're going to do it with 200 athletes. So we're going to have 10 teams of 20. We just really like having that team. I think it's so much easier to talk when you know that you're just talking to 19 other people rather than 199, you know? that's so
Absolutely.
much more daunting. So we really want to keep that team camaraderie. So yeah, we're gearing up. We have our moderators ready who are going to put out that daily feed, moderate conversations. They'll be really important for giving resources to other people. And yeah, we're currently recruiting guest speakers, so pro, collegiate athletes, coaches. Um, yeah, anyone with like an experience in athletics who just wants to share their journey. It's so inspiring um, to see all these different paths in athletics, and there's so many lessons in sports. I feel like that's why it's so amazing to do sports, is that you just learn so many life lessons. So we're recruiting guest speakers, and then obviously our members. We're recruiting these 200 high school athletes. Yeah, that's what we have. It's very exciting. I'm super excited to see where
Huge.
BUYA will grow from here.
It's huge. And I love it. I can see it turning into 2,000 athletes later. And
Mm-hmm.
I believe that every single athlete who comes through is going to be strongly impacted, which is the most important thing moving forward. You really have, I feel like you found your purpose, or at least from my angle, I
Mm-hmm.
see a young woman who has a purpose, and you're living something that people take years and years and years to figure out, and some don't. And you're there, and I'm so happy that you have that support. Speaking of support, for the coaches. So you're working with these 20, now going to be 200 athletes. Do you have any support for the coaches of these athletes, for coaches to also have resources? And I ask because I think that that is one of, I had wonderful coaches growing up, by the way, but there were some mindsets that needed to be shifted
Mm-hmm.
and that sometimes caused harm.
Mm-hmm.
And still phenomenal coaches, but just those underlying beliefs, that pressure, seeing an athlete as like, this is what we're doing for the championship, sometimes more than just like a human being. Um,
Exactly.
are you providing any support for coaches? Do you think it's something that you would do in the future?
Yeah, I love that you brought that up because that is something that me and my dad, who is really involved in Booyah, he's so supportive of obviously my eating disorder recovery, but then also like building Booyah. Um, and yes, a coach's corner is exactly what we want to bring. We want to definitely roll it out in the future, even having like a little Booyah team for coaches where
Yes.
coaches can talk about like, hey, this is the training plan that I'm doing right now. Or, hey, one of my athletes came and talked to me about this. Like, what is the best way for me to move forward? What should I advise them to do?
Hmm.
And obviously, giving them resources. That's a huge part of Booyah. Is we're not therapy. We're not gonna, if you have an eating disorder, don't come to us to go to be your like recovery. We want to be here as like your cheerleaders. We want to be here where you're going through a hard time, you can drop into Booyah and say, hey, I'm going through a hard time. Or maybe you just did something amazing, go to Booyah and say, hey, this is awesome. And people will be so supportive of you. And we just want to give people the resources
Yeah.
that if they need help, they can. Here's where you should go. Here's the people that you should talk to. Here's what you should tell them. And obviously for coaches, that's a huge thing. We want to be supportive of coaches and give them the resources that they need to help these athletes. So we are definitely looking into creating a coach's corner in the future. But right now we're definitely focused on just helping our young athletes first with this um, test, and then definitely a coach's corner is in the future for Booyah.
I love it. I love it. It's so needed, and they're going to appreciate it so much because every coach has a different access to resources. Um, I know that, for example, when I was a student athlete in high school, we had a lot of resources. We had the big budget. When I was a coach, we didn't.
Mm-hmm.
My kids had to buy their own uniforms. They didn't get shoes, and we were in a big school in Houston, huge school. And so you
Mm-hmm.
kind of start thinking about like, wait a second, not every school is the same. And but even beyond that, the education that the athletes, I mean, that the coaches expose themselves to beyond the sport, beyond what the school provides the district, is going to be very important. And so I'm so happy
Exactly.
that you're
And
thinking about that.
yeah. And coaches have so many different experiences, like
Hmm.
if you're a coach and maybe when you ran in college, you had a toxic environment where, you had weigh-ins still, like that can come over, that kind of mindset can seep in. So if we can just like make coaches aware of, their own mindsets that may be harming their athletes, I think that's
Hmm.
also super important, is just realizing that coaches come from all different experiences and that affects how
Hmm.
they interact with their athletes.
Absolutely. How do you feel your mind has shifted? How have you evolved? I mean, I know how you have evolved, but like, what's been different since before and after Booyah? How do you carry yourself? What has it done for you whenever you go to school, whenever you're living your life in the summer, going
Mhm.
to a cross country race? What has it done?
Yeah, I think for me, like what we talked about, just giving me a purpose, really.
Yeah.
Um, like turning this really difficult and really hard experience of my eating disorder and recovery and turning it into like a passion that I hope can help other people. And that's kind of like my goal with Booyah is like, it's great if I can help thousands of people. Like, obviously, I want that so much, but if I can just help one person overcome, whether it's an eating disorder, whether it's now they know that they're struggling with red S and they talk to their doctor, or maybe they just now have a better relationship with exercise and they're not so scared about racing. If I can just help that like one person, I would feel like satisfied. I'd be like, okay, like mission accomplished. Like I did it. Um, so I think like it's just given me this passion, and just made me realize that like the athletic community is just so amazing too. Like I think if we were to band together and support each other,
Hmm.
like I think we can all be so much happier, and when we're happy athletes, we're gonna do better.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's given me so much passion, and I'm just so excited for what's in the future.
I believe you're coming in at a critical moment. I think 2024, 2025 are the years of women empowerment, women in
Mhm.
sport. Even just, learning about Ilona Mar and just being, I mean, I don't know rugby, right? But I am so into it, and just the empowerment and just
Mhm.
how she's standing up for women. And
Mhm.
it's something that is truly revolutionizing the way that women see themselves, girls
Mhm.
see themselves. And I think moving forward, it's going to be a beautiful time, even more so for student athletes. And you are in it. You're in the mix. And I'm
Mhm.
so, so proud of you. Truly, truly
Thank you so
in awe
much.
of what you're doing. And by the way, for those of you who don't speak Spanish, "bulla" in Spanish means like getting rowdy. So this is
I loved
perfect.
when you
You
told me
didn't
that. I
even
was like,
know. And this is
yes, this is
perfect.
perfect.
Look at that. And it's great because you live in California, so people speak Spanish. It's so great.
Exactly. No, I loved when you told me that. I was like, yes, that's exactly our mission. Like, we're not here to sit in shame or stigma. Like,
No.
we're here to get loud. We're here to be supportive of each other. And yeah, that's what Booyah is.
Oh, you're phenomenal. Last question. For a young woman seeking to find her purpose, going through a difficult time, wanting to take the leap, but not knowing how, what would you tell her to switch her mindset and encourage her to do it?
hmm I would just say, one, don't be afraid to ask for help. I think, especially like females, I think we have so much pressure to put this perfect life, like out to other people, and ask for help. Like, you never know what's going to come out of it. And I'd say, too, be patient too. Like, it takes time. I know that in my eating disorder recovery, just because that's been such a transformative experience in my life, like it's been frustrating how slow it goes. There's been times where I'm like, is this really worth it? Um, but you just have to stick with it. And I think that's kind of part of like the athlete mentality, is sometimes you just have to stick with it and see where it takes you. And it's okay if you go down a wrong path. Um, you just gotta trust the process. It sounds so cliche, but it really does get you through. Just be ready to ask for help and trust the process because you're gonna do amazing things. You just gotta set your mind to it.
Love it. You're so brave and you're so gutsy. By the way, does your school know you're doing all of this?
Yes, I hope we're going to start a club this school year. So hopefully we can get more people involved in BUYA. I've already shared this to my cross country team and my coaches, and I'm so excited to share it to other people. I'm so passionate about this, and I hope others will also like see how helpful BUYA is, and I hope that they'll find a supportive community here.
Absolutely. For people who want to get connected with you, they want to support Booyah, they want to get involved, how can they find you?
Yeah, so we recently started our Instagram. So going to at @Booyah_teams, you can kind of see what we're up to. We also have a website at booyahteams.com. If you just want to get more information, want to get involved, there's all our contact information there. We'd love to hear from you. So yeah, those are the ways to get involved. We just want as many people. We want to share Booyah. So feel free to share Booyah with everyone you know who you think would be interested.
I will do that for sure. And my listeners will do that as well.
Yes, thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much. Mia, I am so happy to have met you. I am looking forward to continuing to support you in whichever way that I can. I am in complete awe. I'll say it again. And I know that there are going to be young women listening, being so inspired, wanting to do something like this themselves as well. And I cannot wait to see how many girls you impact. Truly, truly.
Thank you
Congratulations.
so much. I've loved talking with you. I'm so grateful that I met you. You have been so great to me and Booyah, and yeah, I can't wait to see where the journey takes us.
It's going to be phenomenal. Thank you so much.
Thank you.